You're listening to Who's Hot, the UKOCR podcast, where Wil Chung, along with elite racers Becky, Neal, Chris Shipley, and the occasional special guest, discuss the UKOCR Series and other important races in the OCR calendar to find out who's hot.
Hello and welcome to the UK OCR Who's Hot podcast. My name is Wil Chung, and apparently to Accountability Corner, my special power is introductions, although I'm sure Darren has never really heard any of my bloopers before. I'm here with my two elite UK OCR races. We've got Chris Shipley. Chris, hi, how are you doing?
Hello. How's everyone doing?
Yeah,
all good?
All good. And we have Becky, Neal. Becky, hello. It's a couple of weeks since I saw you last. How are you doing?
Hey everybody, yeah, back in the UK. Nice to see you all. Ready for some proper UK racing.
Yes. We're here to preview Tartan, which is Sunday, the 24th of March. And I know the guys have, Becky, you've already talked about it on UKOCR, but very quickly, how was your Alula experience, Tough Mud at Infinity? Because I know we've talked about this so many times. Oh, I'm not a long distance runner. I'm never going to be doing that. And yet, there you were, 70k later, not nearly 9 hours later. How was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic experience, really interesting place to visit, and it was pretty cool to feel, I suppose, like an international athlete in that field. It was pretty exciting, and didn't really know how it was going to turn out. It was quite kind of snowballed for me in terms of the preparation. So quite a jump in at the deep end. It was 25 kilometers further than I've ever ran approximately. So a big step up, and I still can't decide whether I like 100 meters, 3k, 15k, marathon or ultra apparently now. So yeah, it was exciting.
So maybe an endurance series for you next time then, right?
Not this year, but you might see some other people in the endurance series now.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that later on. As mentioned, we are here to talk about the very first race OCR 2024 season up in Kilmarnock, near Kilmarnock, Ayrshire, Tartan, which is Sunday, 24th of March. And to help us talk about Tartan, we of course have race director Gavin Hogarth. Gavin, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, everybody. Excited. Thank you for having me on. Hopefully, you can understand my accent.
What'd you say?
Exactly.
Sounds extra Scottish today.
Well,
sorry, that was very Scottish.
I've got a Scottish phrase book with me, so we're all good.
Speak slowly and loudly, and we'll be okay. Gavin, we very quickly just off air, we were just talking about the weather, and the guys know I know talk about. Let's just talk about weather first, then we'll go into the obstacles. But what's it like up there at this moment in time, and what are we looking for Sunday?
Well, we've had actually a dry spell, by our standards, a dry spell for about a week or 10 days. I believe you guys have had actually more rain than us recently. But it has chucked it down today. We've had a lot of rainfall. So I've been out on the quad bike, in my trailer around the course, setting some stuff up today. And yeah, the fields are all pretty wet, so they are. So, and I don't think it's going to get that much drier over the next 8-9 days. So yeah, I've looked ahead to race weekend. It's still 9 days away as we record this, so it's looking a little bit up and down. I don't think it's going to be particularly cold, but yeah, we might have some showers. Yeah, who knows?
I'm just looking now. Come on, cookies, go away.
It's probably good if Will looks, because if Will looks, it'll probably be sunny. If he says it's going to rain anyway.
Well, I'm really bad for always checking the forecast. See if I'm going away on a ski trip or anything like that, I'm just checking it all the time, and that's exactly what I've probably been checking it 3 times a day, and it keeps just fluctuating a little bit. It's so I can be in a good mood 1 minute, and then the next I'm not in as good a mood because it then looks like it's going to rain. And yeah, so I really shouldn't check it until probably next Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, you should know better, Gavin. You're a farmer. Weather's weather.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll just go on with it. To be honest, it doesn't really matter in terms of the course itself. If it's a bit muddy, so be it. It was quite muddy last year. Obviously, I will think about rig attachments and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. If the weather is changeable, would you actually change the race?
Yeah, I would adjust a few attachments based on weather.
To achieve a similar completion rate.
Yeah. I just think it's also it's not just about the although we're talking about competitive runners tonight, it's also thinking about the fun runners as well, and that's the tricky part. That's the tricky part when we've got four different race distances over a weekend, and after the 8K we've got the 5K, and you're dropping down into the fun runners, and the fun runners start from 5 years old. So I've actually had my son out testing some rigs to actually not because I want him to be able to do like the hardest rigs. It's actually, can he actually physically reach certain points because of the height of him? So he's like, I had a great rig all set up, and I was like, actually, he can't bloody well reach a certain attachment. It's like, because I thought this would do really well for competitive and non-competitive runners. And now I'm going to have to rethink it a little bit because you just simply can't reach. So, yeah, but I'll work it out. It's all, and literally, this is the type of stuff you think about like in the early hours of the morning when you wake up. So,
if you do figure it out, tell the rest of the OCR world, because that is a question as old as OCR, really.
What?
How to get it to every race distance and participant.
Difficult. But yeah, I'll hopefully get some videos out of obstacles maybe early next week. I was hoping to do it maybe even today or tomorrow, but the weather's atrocious, so I'm running out of time. So yeah, we'll try and get some videos out next week.
Cool.
Awesome. Why don't you talk about some of the obstacles, Gavin? Because you have got the 3, 5, and the 8K. I've got the obstacle list in front of me. So let's talk about some of the main obstacles, maybe about the penalty loops or penalty bands and how that's going to work.
Yeah. So if people really last year, the course is largely the same route, but we've got a few different obstacles. I think it's going to be quite exciting, or more exciting this year. So we've got like a new rig, which is currently labelled as a Toros. I think it's labelled as a mid to high to low rig. I think that's the way I've labelled it. That's actually the one I'm having trouble with in terms of deciding attachments. So that might not necessarily stay exactly in that configuration, but that one will be quite exciting because I've almost got a bit of a license to make that pretty difficult. Because that's not going to be a band cutter, that's going to be a penalty loop afterwards. So yeah, you could get quite a big reward if you manage to do that, I suppose. But then, so basically, people might as well give it a go because you're not going to lose a band. At worst, you're going to have to do a penalty loop at the obstacle. So that's that. I'm quite looking forward to that one. What else have we got? If people have been to the World Championships in Belgium, then I did go shopping in Belgium, and there was different items I bought from Climber. You might remember the Climber rig that was kind of green and black. So I've got those. That was quite a difficult rig out there. So
long.
Yeah, it was very kind of upper body, kind of bent arm, small holes. And so I do need to consider that where this isn't the World Championships, I don't quite maybe want to go to that difficulty level, but yeah, I've got some ideas of how to bring that one into play, and that one's going to be indoors actually, so that means you're guaranteed it's going to be dry at least, so I can make that a bit more difficult because of that. What else? We've got on the LSA, we've got the Toros rigs, we've got the cheese boards, the firefighters that we had at the Worlds as well. So yeah, stuff that's familiar. The Weaver is a kind of version of the Weaver that was at the Worlds with a cargo net underneath it as well. So yeah, some really exciting stuff in the indoor section. I'm really excited by that because it's a new shed. We didn't have this last year. Emma's seen social media. It's used it for high rocks a lot. It's got a rig in the middle of it, and the cool thing about that is registration is going to be in that shed as well. So people will be literally queuing up for registration whilst people are flying through rigs beside them.
Oh, nice!
And we've got the Ninja Warrior walls in there as well. The Ninja Warrior kind of ramp walls, they're not going to be in the 3K or the 8K, or they're not going to be in the competitive races, because my fear is that crazy people like Chris might just throw himself off the top just to keep going. So we're not going to have them in the competitive race apart from the 100 meters, but they will be in the fun races, so people can come and beat the wall and whatnot. So yeah, lots to get excited by, definitely. You want to talk about the band, kind of?
Yeah. Talk about
Yeah.
the
So-
penalty system.
so-
Yeah, so what we do a lot at Tartan Warriors, obviously consult with British obstacle sports a lot. But with me being a competitive runner, I kind of want Tartan Warrior to, as closely as possible, follow the rules that World Obstacle are going to have in place at their event, and in the European Championships as well. So I'm always kind of just checking if we're kind of following the same guidance, if you like, on penalties, etc. So this year we do have a slight change to the bans. Last year everybody got 3 bans, but this year is now the only people that are going to get 3 bans are the adult males, the junior males, and all females will get 4 bans. So an extra ban, because we do have, I think we've got something like 13 single attempt obstacles that are, I guess, failable in some people's eyes. So yeah, I want a kind of higher completion rate on that. So for people that don't know the ban system, ultimately before the finish line, you'll have to show how many bands you've got on your wrist. If you've lost all your bands, then you can still complete the race, but you just cross the line. But if you've lost 1 band, then you do a penalty loop just before the finish line, and you get to collect that band back. And if you've lost 2 bands, then you do 2 penalty loops and get 2 bands back. And in the case of if you start with 4 bands and if you've lost 3, then you can actually gain 3 bands back. So you might be doing up to 3 penalty loops at the end of the course, except for those adult males, they'll do a maximum of 2 penalty loops. Yeah, so that's kind of how it works. Well, maybe I should add, in terms of penalties, we do actually have in our indoor area, because we've got some cardio machines in there, ski ergs and rowing machines, we're actually going to use those as penalties at the obstacle as well.
Oh.
Again, you maybe didn't hear that. You maybe hadn't seen that memo. So this is just to try and obstacles we have. There will still be band cutters. There'll still be quite a few of those, but so in that indoor area there'll be 2 or 3 obstacles that if you fail, then you will do 200 meters on the ski or row, except for the 10 to 13 year olds, they'll do 150 meters. So we've kind of tested that out. So I think by the time you get on and off the machine and do that distance, it's probably going to be a penalty of at least a minute, I would have thought. So that's what we're going with.
It's looking really good. Yeah. When I read through the penalty system earlier on that little thing that you sent us, I thought it was a really good idea, having obstacles that you could fail and then still manage to be in the race with penalty loops and more difficult obstacles that are a bit harder to do. That still gives you an opportunity to race. So yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, I think there's a genuine fear of people like losing all their bands and perhaps losing them early in the race. So yeah, hopefully we can keep more people in the game, if you like, for longer. And yeah, and also I think the downside, if there is a downside of having a band system, is that you're not always aware of how many bands other athletes have got.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody in front of you, you could be like, have they lost a band? I'm not too sure. So you don't really know how to judge your effort towards the end of the race, because you don't know if they're going to be running a penalty or not. So that makes it a bit trickier. So if you've got penalty loops, then you're more aware of where you are in the race, I think.
Yeah, it's quite annoying, isn't it? You're in a race and you do shout to the competitors as well, and no one will ever tell you the truth.
Yeah, or they're lying.
Just lying to you.
That's it. I've lost them all, so you slow down.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not a bad tactic. It's not a bad tactic.
Yeah. Speaking of the psychology of racing, we could probably talk about one of our obstacles where we've got the full water submersion.
Yeah, I love this idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So last year that was, you had to do it. There was some people who struggled with the cold. So we didn't really want to rule those people out. So yeah, it's now going to be act as a shortcut. So you can either do a full water submersion, which will involve going underneath 3 logs in a ditch, effectively. So this is the one called ditch dunk. Or you can opt to do a longer running loop. I've still to actually mark out that running loop, but to give people some kind of help in making this decision, I did the ditch dunk at a kind of reasonable speed, not like racing it as fast as I could, but just ducking under the log, took a couple of breaths, ducked under the next one, couple of breaths. I timed myself, and I was about 30 seconds to complete that. So therefore, I'm probably going to be looking at a running route that's going to take about probably a minute and a half on average. Well, for me, so so we'll look to, you can gain the advantage of at least a minute on your competitors, I would have said, by doing the ditch dunk. But obviously, the downside is you're getting cold. Now, I would add, there is water. You will already be wet potentially up to your waist due to a previous water obstacle. But obviously, the full water submersion, it's your hands, it's your head. So it has that impact. I'm sure Becky understands more than us about that. So I think it's really down to the individual. Does cold water bother you? The obstacles, so people know. A consideration is, well, when's the next rig? Your hands should be dry by the time you get to the next rig. So you've got probably a kilometre of running after that ditch dunk. So it's not going to affect, your hands should be dry. It's just in terms of coolness.
And is it about 2/3 through the race in general in terms of distance?
Yeah, I would say it is. You did the 8K last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's about 2/3 of the way in. There is some technical obstacles before it, but there's quite a few technical ones to come after it. But like I say, there's about a kilometre,
including like 4 banned obstacles after.
Yeah. There's another. Oh, I could just tell you right now. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 5 banded obstacles, I think.
Oh yeah, mandatory.
For that. But when I say that, there's not. I mean, the guys are going to find this out when the rule book goes out tomorrow. Anyway, there's things like a rope traverse, which most people will be able to do that. It's banded, but it's not. For anybody who's done OCR, most people can do a rope traverse, so that's not likely to fail that. But then there's a low rig. There's 2 kind of higher rigs, and the one that might get people, the Captain Hook one.
I'm quite interested in this because I was looking on the thing that you sent us, and I was trying to work out what that will actually be. Is it going to be sketch sort of based, or is it going to be something where you've got to transfer a hook-based obstacle into another obstacle?
It's not as difficult, I would say, as sketch or as like Gibbons. It's literally you've got a hook in your hand, and it's a Toro's hook grip, so it's really grippy. And
is it one of the T-bar ones?
Kind of, yeah, T-bar ones. It's got a hook in the end, and then you have to hook them into small rings. As you go through it, so it's not that long an obstacle. So you're only maybe talking about 3 or 4 transitions. But it's one of those ones that you could struggle to get the hook out of the previous ring. But the good thing about that obstacle is it's very grippy. So even if I'm giving too much away here, even if
you're meant to be, this is why you're on here.
That's the whole point, isn't it?
This is what you're meant to be telling us.
Even if you swing and you miss the target of putting the hook into the ring, then you'll be able to recover on one arm. Most people will be able to recover. So
this is good. Yeah, because this is a sort of an obstacle we don't see that much of in the UK, and it's definitely something that I think we're going to see a lot more when a few of us go to the European Champions and the World Championships. So to get race experience on these kind of obstacles is going to be really, really helpful for
there's one
everyone.
but I'm giving too much away here. But if anyone's going to practice, I'm pretty sure there's one at the obstacle play. Is it obstacle play park?
OPP.
Is that the one that's quite near Nuts?
Yeah.
No, I think it's near the PT barn, isn't it? Oh no,
it's
it's
near
the.
Nuts.
Sorry,
Yeah.
no, I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
Is it obstacle playground? Is that what it's called? I can't remember.
Play park. Yeah. OPP.
Play park. Yeah, I went there after Nuts in September, and I remember
That's
seeing it a very similar obstacle. So there you go.
I think it's useful for us to experience fighting for obstacles as well. Like either we've got a good mixture here, because just to clarify a few things, it's not exactly the same as like a banded system we see at Europeans, because that doesn't have any penalty obstacles or any other things. It just has the bands.
Yeah,
So you have thought about it in like specific detail here, which is really nice, like especially to help with that retention and everything. So there's actually a mixture of things. You've got ones which have bands which you can try multiple times, ones with bands that you only get one chance on, ones without bands which you only get one chance on, or you do a penalty if you fail it first time, and mandatory obstacles, which is just the rest of them, plus the ditch shortcut option. So there is quite a lot of information. But I know all the rationale is like really useful, really valid, and like it's clear that you've thought about it in so much detail to make it the best race that suits everyone, is fair and competitive. So I think one of the more difficult things will be making sure we understand, and that is the responsibility of the racer. Like you say, the rule book's going to be out, and we have plenty of time. We have like signs near the rigs, near the obstacles, to remember which one's which. Like, will I get 2 attempts or 1 attempt?
No.
No. Okay.
No sign.
We've all got to learn this, everybody.
So I mean, to be honest, the technical officials at those, I'll be asking them. So I know hopefully a technical official, as you approach it, should say to you, "Oh, single attempt, arms only, whatever." Keep it short and concise. Hopefully, you should get that information to you. But if you're pretty smart, like you guys, then you'll probably go and do a warm-up run around the course, and actually check out these rigs. Because the good thing about Tartan Warrior as well is everything's accessible within quite a short distance. So you don't need to go too far to find the rigs at all. So you can really kind of suss them out, ask questions and whatnot, even on the day.
Sometimes people seem to try harder if they know that it's only 1 attempt, which is strange to me, because I think you should just do that every time, right? So I don't know whether there's like more consequence or whether it makes no difference at all, but it probably makes some emphasis on completion. But it is really nice to see that there's the penalty ones as well, like you say, so people will actually try it rather than just not bother and think I can't do that and just give up early. They'll actually give it a proper effort. Hopefully that will get rid of any touch and go malarkey.
I think you mentioned a word fighting earlier, Becky, and it triggered something in my brain that people should probably consider as well. That we are primarily a training facility, right? So we're not a facility that's got 6 lanes. Okay, basically every obstacle is a 2-lane obstacle. There's even the odd one where it might just be a single lane. I mean, not the rigs. The rigs are all going to be 2 lanes. So people are going to have to consider, do they hold back and give way to somebody? Because if you're running a pack of 3, you might have to make a decision. Do I put a surge in to get to go first, or do you know what? You maybe say to yourself, I'm quite knackered right now. I'll give way and just let my heart rate calm down a bit, and I'll let the other person go and ahead of me. So that's going to be a little bit of strategy there as well for people. But I've included this, and I've just edited the rule book just to say to people that just don't be pushing each other, don't be fighting.
Okay.
Try to get on.
Metaphorically, don't be.
Got to be quite safe about it, smart.
But that's good practice again for like championship events. So nice.
Yeah.
It's really leveled up. There's so many exciting obstacles and all the things that you've brought back from other countries and stuff. So it's going to be.
I'm absolutely broke. I'm spending too.
I'm
spending too much money. So if anybody thinks that putting on a race makes you a load of money. I'm probably on about £1.50 an hour, if that.
Yeah, but you've got glory.
The glory, yeah, I suppose. The glory. It'd be awesome if I could take part, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're going to have some, home athletes who are going to be having a really good time and benefit from the training and before, after, and everything as well. So
Yeah,
it all goes in.
to be honest, when you're putting a race on, you don't. I didn't get any FOMO really last year. I was too busy thinking about the actual event to actually think, oh, I wish I was taking part. I did go and run the course the next day myself last year, and I did actually manage to beat the winner's time for the UK. So I was quite happy. At least I managed that. just to
Probably
drop
did it 6 times just to make sure you did it. God.
I was only going out for like a steady run, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, I'm going to win this." I crossed the line.
With put your name on the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, nobody's there to watch that.
Time trial winner.
Yeah.
Have you got any segments, Strava segments, Gavin? Maybe that's just a bit of extra spice.
No, do you know I don't do Strava at all. I'm afraid. I feel like the world is just taken over with so many things you have to do in terms of social media and WhatsApp and everything like that. It just would feel like another thing to me. So no, I'm afraid I don't partake. I did actually have this idea with Tartan Warrior where we could lay down like a course record or something like that, and I would, or not a course record. So this is maybe a bit, I don't know, you can call this egotistical if you want, but where I would go and run the course week before and do it legitimately, so it'd probably have to be filmed or whatever, and lay down a time and then offer like some kind of cash prize if you beat that course record type thing.
I wanted to do that in my garden.
So if you did set the time yourself, Gavin, for example,
yeah,
and then sort of had someone else set the females and that, and then if you could beat that time, I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I wanted to do that in my
Plus
garden.
It gives you
after lockdown. I was going to call it Beat Becky and invite people to my garden, but I didn't. I thought twice about that name.
Beat Becky.
Decided against it.
Yeah,
probably best.
I thought about doing it, but then I got worried about how much money I'm going to have to. I've already spent too much money on obstacles.
You could give out something, give out a prize.
Yeah, do you know what? People probably wouldn't really care. They'd probably just be quite happy to get something for it.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's maybe not too late. I'll see how next week pans out. Last year, I had this intention that I was going to go and run the course myself last year before the actual event, and I never got a chance. I tested. I knew all the obstacles, but I never actually got to have a proper run at it. I was just far too busy. So we'll see what happens next week if I manage to have a proper crack at it. I've also had injuries and stuff as well. I better get my excuses in.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's an idea, Gavin. Here's a quick idea just off the top of my head. You could do it, run it, get the time, and then invite anybody to put, let's say, £5 in the pot, and
That's
the winner with the best time and also beats your time gets half of it, and then the other half goes to charity, or the whole pot just goes to the winner or whatever. So actually you're not really paying out, it's everyone that's going, yeah, actually I think I can beat Gavin, I'm going to put the time down, and they're putting some cash down.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I could definitely think of a few people that would say yes to that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll put money in. Yeah,
I guess it does depend on the weather conditions. Like I might get better weather conditions, and then also
that's part of the fun, the strategy.
Weather conditions, but
they get lucky or you get lucky.
You just like maybe we could just have a pot or a bucket at the start line and just say throw in a tenner if you want to take part in this, and just have a bucket of cash at the start line. Okay, Chris's face, he's just like,
no, I'm trying to think of a really cool name to call it, like Gavin's Game or
Gamble.
Gav's Gamble. Yeah.
Oh, there's definitely.
I'm pretty sure in the drinking games it's called arrogance. When you play that, when you have to fill up the cup with how much you think you're going to win, and then it passes on. It's called arrogance.
Yeah, this whole thing sounds like arrogance, doesn't it? It's like here's this threat to the things he's going to throw down a time.
Yeah.
That nobody's going to beat. But
Good laugh.
I think what you wanted to, I think what you're going to touch on there is obviously home advantage, and it is an advantage for me if I was going to take part in my own course, of course. But yeah, we do have other people as well that train at the farm every week, twice a week sometimes. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of an advantage to them. They've not, just so in case people are wondering, the rigs are not fully set up yet. Yes, they might understand the attachments and stuff, but they don't know the configurations of quite a few of those rigs, and they're not going to get a chance to practice before the last time that anybody that trains here will get to practice will be this Saturday, and I'm not going to be actually changing all the rigs over until next week. So just for clarity for people.
I think that's fair, Gavin. I mean, of course, we've got Becky and the Nuclear Phoenix having home field advantage at Nuclear, but I know, you know, there's a point when there's a cutoff that no one's allowed on kind of the course or anything. I'm sure it's the same at Rumble Fitness and so forth. So, but that's a nice segue. We'll go on to last year's winners, and then we'll talk about some of the participants that we've got already for this year. We already know. So last year we got in the female, we had Kate Stillwell in first place, Hannah Macquarie in second, and then Laura MacArthur. And then in the male section we had Russell Walsh, and we'll come back to old Russell in a second, Morgan Maxwell and Sam Clark. Chris, I know you're coming up. What do you think about Russell? Do you think you're going to throw a time down and take him out?
I don't think I am personally, but I've got my boys coming up with me, you know. We've got the boys from down south coming up.
All three of you?
We're going to try and take him down. All three of us.
God.
Hang on, there's more than us. There's more. There's the rest of the boys. Becky, you know some of these boys, didn't you?
Lads. Which boys?
Berggas, they're all coming up. South's coming up to the north. We're going to take them on.
So
I love this.
Alex Young, Nuclear Wild Forest. Who else we got? Billy Stubbs.
We got
Shipley,
loads.
Chris Harris. Darren Martin, Basil Ganella, Dave Peters, Ferg Keeney,
Finley's coming up.
Greenleaf, Flynn Stewart as well, another one, young one. Graham Eastwood. Who else we got?
John
James
Redmond.
Burton, maybe. James Marlum.
Jason Morland.
Yeah. Oh, Jonathan Hunter. Interesting. He's a bit further north. That'd be exciting to see him race. Oh, yeah. I'm just scrolling through the names.
We got a real good lineup. I mean,
Tommy Matthews.
how many names have we got there? Tommy Matthews is coming up to make his debut, racing an 8K as well. So
Isn't that a bit further than what he normally does?
Yeah,
isn't
he's
it?
focusing on 3K and 100.
Nice. 64 in the men. In the
what a
men's
turnout.
the list that I've got at this moment in time. There may be a few more being added in, but 64. Any names, Chris, Becky, that kind of jump out, and then Gavin will come over to you to see if there's any secret weapons that Russell and his boys might kind of pull out. But Chris, Becky, any particular names that jump out for you?
Liam Mitchell's coming up. We've been waiting for him to sort of take part in a proper OCR for quite a while actually now. So it'd be really exciting to see if he comes up. I don't see. Does anyone see his buddy in there? No.
Who's his buddy?
Matt Roberts.
Matt
You're talking
Roberts,
about Matt
yeah.
Roberts.
Matt Roberts is there as well, yeah.
Is he in there?
Oh,
Yeah, his name's there.
Yep.
oh yeah.
All right, I just couldn't see his name on the board, but yeah. So you got him. You got Ricky Carino. Is that right? How you say that, Gavin?
Yeah, Carino.
Carino. So
yeah.
he's been training up
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You said to me earlier that he's been looking really strong. Beat you at what was that race?
Steady. He didn't beat me.
Oh, sorry, didn't beat you, but he almost beat you. He almost beat you at Tough Guy. What's it called
Yeah,
now?
no. So at McTuff, so Ricky,
McTuff.
I was really impressed with Ricky's running at McTuff. So he only finished 30 seconds behind me, or
That's
so.
decent.
40 seconds. Yeah, he just needs to. His rigs are good in isolation. It's just putting it together in a race, really. So yeah, he could fare really well. I mean, he knows the place.
Well, that's the best thing. If you've got a bit of home advantage, it does really help. Knowing those sort of, just being able to bound over the obstacles that you've had to go on a few times really helps out sometimes. So you got Ramunis coming up. He was pretty good last year down there. Managed to battle quite well.
Yeah.
So we got almost 40 obstacles in 8K. So I'd say that's pretty obstacle dense. You know, you go to a Spartan, there's 25 and 21.
That's the thing. I think this is going to be a real obstacle specialist sort of race.
Yeah, and it is tactical, which means you have to really be used to racing obstacle races. Funny that. And there are definitely people, it's the start of the season, it's the first one of the series. There are people who haven't been on obstacles over the winter. I feel like I fall into that camp a little bit. And there's people who train weekly at like training centers and doing race sims. And those people they've been working hard at preparing for this. And I think that will probably come through in this event in particular because of the obstacle density and also the early part of the season. So I think it's going to be speed and it's going to be decision making. It's going to be getting on obstacles, like deciding on that tactical bit that you mentioned earlier about getting on and then making the right decisions, basically, as well as running fast.
Yeah, I think I think runners can take advantage as well at certain moments.
The hill, the side of the hill.
Yeah. There's a couple of hills, not huge mountains or anything like that. But after that kind of Toros rig with a kind of mid to high to low, after that you've got a long rec bag carry, and this is in the 8K, and then you've got about 2 kilometers, maybe 2.5 kilometers of pretty much solid cross country running, and then it's the ditch dunk. So you've got the option, or you've got the opportunity there to make your speed count. Also, what we're adding, or not adding in, we're doing the same as we did last year. In the 8K anyway, not the 3K. The 8K has got potential for a really exciting sprint finish. And this actually happened between Russell and Morgan last year. So after the final obstacle in the 8K, there's still about 400 meters of running, maybe slightly more, 400-500 meters of running. So you can get some proper just empty the tank type stuff, which sometimes in OCR races is missing, because you've literally got a very technical obstacle and then you cross the line, so you don't always you're not always crossing the line like claps in a heat, because you've had to manage your effort. But this gives the opportunity to, I mean, properly just give it everything you've got for 400-500 meters, and it's an uphill finish as well, so people will be absolutely
Love it. There's no better way to finish a race than giving it everything you got on a sprint finish.
Unless you've got penalty loops as well to come.
Yeah, we saw that. I mean, at Storm 3K, that was quite like a finish a bit like that, where you have to really you empty it out, and I think it works well in these really like intense race situations. And also, is it one of those ones where you have to throw yourself over a cargo net without throwing yourself onto the floor right before the run?
I think that's how Jack got his time better.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. He literally just jumped off the.
So that Jack Carpenter last year just like almost vaulted over a massive car.
Yeah.
It was so mad. I tuned into the live feed at exactly that time that it happened. It was amazing. Well, it wasn't amazing. No sort of like, oh, glad to see Jack fall over, but it was so like mad just to see him stack it. But he totally give it everything afterwards, and I swear to God, he made up time just because he came off that.
I probably got to give him a shot of adrenaline. But I was actually we actually were thinking, do we need a crash mat at that cargo net? And thank God we put a crash mat down, because he basically just fell from the top. So hopefully guys don't get too wild. This is always a fear as well. It's like when you've got racers, people will just like literally go to the death. I'll die to win this race type thing. Like, and I'll throw myself.
With a long running finish, people are less likely to do that on the end obstacles. So I think it is good to.
It's actually more the 3K. The 3K doesn't have a long run finish. The 3K is a relatively short run finish. So I think it actually happened on the 3K, but it was fine. In case anybody's wondering, it's fine.
Shall we go over to the female? So again, last year we had Kate Stillwell in first, Karen McQuarrie in second, Lauren MacArthur. This is a really strong field as well. Let's have a quick look how many we've got so far. 34 in the 8K field, and the one that kind of sticks out to me first is Becky Neal, of course. So Becky, hopefully you're going to make your way up there, unless you're off to warmer climes.
Yeah, well, still deciding. I've entered. I'm going to be there, but there might be something else that jumps in the way, and I end up on in Hong Kong. But anyway, that's just my hectic life at the moment. Don't worry about that. I'll be there if I'm there. I'd love to be there. But there's lots of other people who are there, and I see the entry age is 14 plus. Lauren MacArthur ran really fast last year, and I feel like she's probably even faster now.
Mhm.
And I think, did you have separate podiums last year?
Yes. So,
Yeah.
but
Or separate races, separate waves? And that's not the case this year.
so they all race together. The 14 to 17-year-old race with the
Yeah.
seniors as well. But
Yeah.
I'm trying not to get too complex here, but essentially, like the 14 to 17-year-old females will be eligible to be on the overall podium as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I think that didn't happen because I was on.
Yeah, because this year the rules are identical for all females. The number of bands they're wearing, the rec bags they're carrying. There is a slight difference in the males where the 14 to 17-year-olds will not be eligible for overall podiums.
Extra band.
Because they've got an extra band and they're going to be carrying a lighter rec bag. So I have actually put this will be in the rule book that comes out tomorrow. If any 14 to 17-year-olds, there's one in particular we can probably think of. If anybody wants to be racing against the adults and not be included in that 14 to 17-year-old, then they need to let me know. Yeah, this is male only because if somebody wants to be pitching themselves against the adult males and potentially be eligible for an overall podium or for series points, then they need to let me know if they're in that 14, 17-year-old category that they want to be included against the adult males. Because they're carrying they need to be carrying the same weight of rec bag and have just 3 bands rather than the 4 bands.
Okay, good to know. And so when we're doing the start of this race, I'm just thinking as a female racer, are we all starting the 8Ks? The 3K you have 60 people in a wave. The 8K is starting everyone together, but it's males and females separate. Is that correct?
Yeah, the males are off half an hour before the
Amazing.
females.
They won't get in the way. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Well, let's see what we've got. We've got some names that jump out that I haven't seen race there before. People like Josie Lloyd, Federica Di Caria. We haven't seen them, I don't think, at Tartan Warrior. So that's going to be really interesting. And I think both of them have been working on racing, obstacles, running. Like they are prepared. And then we've got the group from Rumble coming up. We've got Julie and Megan and Louise, plus people who've got a lot of experience. Oh, and Pip, yeah.
Yeah. Is Shyla in there as well?
Shyla's name's at the bottom.
Shyla, oh yeah, great. So that's going to be like a strong team outing, and they've obviously been training together hard over the winter and practicing on the obstacles weekly quite often.
Yeah, sorry. Am I right in saying that we've got something like the top 6 females from the UKOCR Series from last year? So it's something like that.
Betty, me, Josie,
Karen.
Is Tamar? No.
Tamar's
name's not on the no.
Tamar. Oh, Tamar's name's not there?
No. Tamar's running.
Is she?
Oh.
Yeah.
I'd maybe, you guys keep talking. I'm just going to double check that. I think maybe I've missed her out when I copied and pasted the.
No. I got Tamar's name here.
All right.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm looking at the email. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the email that I've sent you, and I don't see Tamar.
No, I don't either.
I copied and pasted it.
My technology is not the best as everyone else's. So.
Anyway, there's other familiar names as well. We've got Charlotte Jewell.
Tamar's definitely coming.
Great. Very cool.
Oh, here we go. Look, Will's really setting up the board here. He's put it on a shared screen. This is much better. Why don't we do this often?
For some reason, my email cuts out after Shyla. For some reason, when I
same.
Email.
Yeah.
I must have not copied and pasted
that. We got Sandy from Scotland, different training centre, right? But
Sandy Powell. She is a force to be reckoned with.
Great on obstacles. Yeah.
She was here. She was here practicing on Sunday.
Good for her. Excellent. Is that Nicola? She's raced here before. Nicola Gillespie. She's raced in the series a few times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Helene, yeah.
She's been looking really strong. Looked really strong like at the end of the Worlds last year, and then she's always training.
Yeah, it's really great. Like I don't know, like that team atmosphere. I think that we got so many women from Rumble training together. I think it really has helped build everyone up. We've got Dawn Jollies, who's been really helpful, of course, if you've been involved with the, being selected for Euros and Worlds. How many in total? On your
34
list?
in
34.
total.
Is there any females up there from Scotland, Gavin, that we don't really know of, or we haven't seen much of down in the southern sort of races that you've seen training and doing quite well?
There was not actually. I think we're blessed with a real. Scotland's not blessed. Tartan Warriors blessed with so many English coming up. In terms of Scottish people that might be up there, it's my bets would be obviously Karen McQuarrie, Sandy Pow, Lauren MacArthur. I genuinely don't know what kind of shape Lauren's in.
Okay.
I've only seen Lauren, it feels like 2 or 3 times in the last 6-7 months. So I genuinely don't know if she might be fitter. She plays hockey and stuff like that, so she doesn't actually do that much OCR. So yeah, I'm not really too sure, to be honest.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Mm.
Because we don't have a lot of race results to go on right now. We're just talking, we're just saying words and speculating, and
just speculating,
training that we've seen people sharing. We don't really have many results yet. This is the stage of the race we're in. So the people who have raced this year have either raced in like trail races, like we've seen both Josie running in fell races, Fede running in trail races at some pretty impressive speeds, and as well as the training that we've seen them maintaining on the obstacles. So I think and of course, Karen won nuts.
Oh, she was looking so good.
And Louise.
And Karen's already been away to race in Spain this year as well.
Yeah, she did medieval race, didn't she?
And
with Shiloh,
she went to Balmoral in January and did a Spartan race as well. So
in the cold.
She's a bit like you, Becky. She just,
I was just going to say.
She just jet sets.
We're career women that have busy weekends. Well, she works weekends. But yeah, Louise Ferriman did. She was one of the best obstacle performers at nuts in that terrible weather. I suppose in the desert.
But she's not the only male or female to complete one of them.
Only female to complete the piccolo rig. I was there. I was marshalling the piccolo rig, and I was watching everyone participate doing that. And I must say, it wasn't an easy rig, and Louise did superb getting through it. In fact, so did Libby. Libby only just fell off, which was such a shame. But yeah, it wasn't. It was so wet. So
was it the technique that they used to get through that, or was it like pure grit and grip?
No, 100% technique. Yeah, definitely using that figure 4 was definitely a way to get through those last sort of sections. I'd been on the rig the week before. It was doable, but you definitely needed to have a few extra tools in your toolkit just to get through. You couldn't rely on the same technique.
Going to see that more and more, I think. Pip, I think, has been, pretty hot on the training as well, and I think she's definitely got like a long road ahead in OCR.
I think we're just waiting for her to pip a race, really, aren't we? To really.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for her to get some more like international experience in real race scenarios. And I think this is one of those races that will help with that. So I think she's got loads of potential. Megan, of course, has got more experience recently doing her first ultra as well. So fit, uninjured, got some OCR. What's the word? When you really want to do it. Not experience, like when you're keen for it. Enthusiasm, like when you just do a race, you're like, oh, I want to do more. To capitalize on that once you're in a good mood for it. Rather, some people who haven't done a race yet this year feel like they're still in the training, they're not ready to start racing again. They're like, what? It's still dark outside. So she's up for it.
It's pretty loaded, isn't it?
Stacked.
Good.
So we've come to that. Actually, before I do that, Chris, are you driving up with Darren?
No, I'm driving up solo.
Are you?
I cannot be asked for Darren to be chewing off my ear all the way up there. Talking about his hair,
To be fair, I think I've seen on Instagram, isn't Julie going with Darren, and she said she's got an 8-hour Taylor Swift playlist. So you
To be
probably
fair,
go
to be
go
fair,
solo.
right? Julie knows this. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan and Miley Cyrus. I think me and Julie would have a good time because we got really similar music tastes. So unfortunately, I don't think Darren has the same thing. He'll be listening to grime or something.
I think everyone's a Taylor Swift fan at heart, but 8 hours, oof, that's a lot.
Just gotta come for you, Will.
So I'm not
Taylor.
gonna see it for a while. Anyway, we have come to this special part of Who's Hot. Becky, give me your top 3 male, female.
Right. Okay. Let's start with the females. Look, Federica de Coria is double national champion. There's no reason why she wouldn't win this race other than she's never been there before. But that hasn't stopped her before. So I think she's definitely on my podium. I think Josie's gonna feature really highly. Like, I think Speeder will still play a part. Like, there's so many people here are good at the obstacles. Like, all of the Rumble girls, I think, will definitely use their obstacle expertise to make sure that they don't lose any bands. They won't be doing penalties, they won't be losing their bands. And I don't think that will happen with sort of Josie and Fede either, or somebody like Laura Hayward. So really it will come down to running. And so I think, I don't know. This is so hard.
Yeah.
I'm not used to this. I'm out of practice. Let's pretend I'm in Hong Kong. Because I've been running some like long distances, but I don't feel particularly fast right now. But I still think Karen's going to be up there. You know, she has all that race experience right now. She's racing at home. She won it last year. I think Karen, Josie, Fede, with some Rumble girls in the mix, very, very somewhere close in there, maybe on the podium as well. It's probably my top choices.
Top 3 though.
Chris, do you want to go for your female picks?
Female pick. I've been thinking about this all day, so it's been really difficult. I do think Karen might just pip it with the home advantage, and then I do think Fede will get second, and the third place is the one that I just cannot get. Becky, if you're not there, I'm going to say Lou. I think if you're there, you're either going to run really strong or fall apart after Lula. So I can't really put you into the mix because you're either going to be running super good because you've got that sort of run distance in your legs, or you're just going to fall apart.
You missed that she did Gov Games as well, running up Burj Khalifa.
Oh, you did Gov Games,
And
right?
the Burj Khalifa, 2,909 steps.
Well, I'm knocking you off. So right,
okay.
I'm going to say you're not there, and then I'm going to say Sandy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, headphones.
Nice, cool.
Write it down, Will, because I'm winning this year.
I'm typing it. What about give me your men's picks, Chris?
My men's is even more difficult. I'm gonna say Russell.
Got to be
And
in
then-
the mix, hasn't it?
And then only because he gets to get up there every now and again. I know it's a long drive for him, but he does get up there. He's a team member now, so he should be fighting for a win there. Then I'm going to say Mo. I mean, I've been training with him, and he's looking pretty sharp. He's lost a bit of timber. His abs are showing through. And then third place, it's going to be a battle between Ferg and Darren, I believe.
Oh, interesting.
What about Das? What kind of shape's Das in?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
It's going to be exactly the same as Becky. He's either going to be running super hard because we all know Dash recovers so well from hard efforts. For some strange unknown reason to everyone, he seems to recover.
I think,
but
he will say veganism, but yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's a challenging course. It's got quite a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of things going on, and I do think Ferg and Darren do have a bit more sort of difference in abilities that just might be able to pip him if Das doesn't run away with the lead of those two.
Becky?
Yeah, on that, I think Ferg is pretty good at really paying attention to the race and making good decisions in the moment, and that's what's helped him perform really well at like 3Ks. And I think this is a race that's similar to that, even if it is a bit longer. Like the number of obstacles, I think will. You know, Ferg's been going to Wild Forest or PT Barn every weekend, like 1 or 2 things a week. So I think Ferg's going to be up there. But I think Das is mega fit. Like he has recovered. He's put his body through a lot, but he's so keen right now. He's really on a high from beating a couple of world champions, and I think he'll enjoy the running. he is doing some more pretty intense training week that week. I do know that, but he'll be up for it. I think the only thing is he's not so fond of the cold. So if he lets that get in his head, he'll be listening. Don't. Yeah, Mo. I think sometimes they think, like last year I was in the battle with Russell, and that was really exciting to watch. I want them to both be up for it again, because I think that could happen again. It could unfold in any direction. So I want them all to be really switched on. There's no like confusion or people giving up or making poor decisions or anything like that. I want an exciting race, and I think that the people in the mix of that will probably be Ferg, Das, Mo, and Russell. Have I missed anyone key?
Chris Shipley.
Chris Shipley. How you feeling, Chris? Tell us.
No, well, we'll see.
Always playing his cards to his chest, isn't he?
Well, I don't know. It's the first race of the year, so I do need to dust. We all need to dust off the cobwebs a little bit. It's really hard to. A lot of us haven't raced yet, so it's really difficult to know where you're at and to back yourself, because
you do have years of experience. Like you have years of experience, and
I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Training. No, but I mean, you can rely on that. I think you can pull out a bag even if there's some cobwebs. Someone like Jonathan Hunter, who I think has loads of potential. You know, excellent climber, really good at like ninja obstacles. Actually, pretty fast. Like came really highly in the 3K at Storm. Could become, you know, in the mix or something like this, but maybe not this time because of the experience. Whereas you have that. Maybe
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Exciting to see Liam. It's quite a different scenario, I think.
I was going to say something. That's annoying me. Sorry,
Tommy Matthews, probably top 10.
Oh, definitely top 10. Yeah, it just all depends on the endurance. I mean,
Tommy's apparently nursing a shoulder injury.
Is he?
No, I'm not sure.
Strapped up.
Yeah.
Gavin, any thoughts? Any additional names that you want to just throw in as a hand grenade?
No, I think the guys will cover it pretty well. I'll give a wee shout out. I think Cameron Montgomery, he's 16. I think he'll do, or 15, 16. He trains here, and he's a bit of a weapon on the rigs. I don't think he's going to push the top guys in terms of running. His running has come on, but he can move through the obstacles very well. So he might do pretty well. I'd hopefully get a top 10 for him overall.
In comparison to Finlay?
Probably just between him and Finlay, it's going to be down to racing experience. Cameron's got very limited racing experience compared to Finlay. I think he's literally done a handful of OCRs in his life, but he is a bit of a monkey on the rigs, like so. Yeah, I think he could be one if he decides to stick at it. I think he could definitely do well going forwards.
Cool. Yeah, there's going to be like lots of familiar names in the top 10. Even Alex Young, even like David Tucker. He doesn't race very often, does he?
Oh, yeah, but he's always a dark horse.
Yeah.
You know, he's so good on obstacles.
Yeah.
If only he trained, he'd be an absolute absolute nightmare.
So before we finish off, guys, I think Chris, you kind of talked about that psychology of first race back for most people, race rust and all that. So how do you think most people will be coming and kind of approaching this race?
Well, I think they'll probably be bricking it. The first race back's always a bit of a turn for the stomach, if I'd like to say a few words, isn't it? But it's good. It's what we need to start the season off with. You need to get that race experience in, because that fear that you get at the beginning of the race, as the season gets on, you sort of gets less and less. So yeah.
And like last year we had the championships, like the national championships in October, and Tartan Warrior was a distant memory by that point, even though we had so much good feedback. Or Gavin, there was loads of like good reviews, wasn't there, even about like the technical officials and everything you did in preparation, but like by the time you get a couple of months down the line, sometimes you've even forgotten about how things went. So if people are worried about it being the first race, it's not going to take over your whole year, even if it goes completely pear-shaped.
Are you guys doing
Sorry,
are you guys doing the VK Wild Forest on Saturday? Or some people going to be doing that?
Yes.
It's a bit of last.
Yeah, before the awards.
I will be, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That'll blow the cobwebs.
Yeah, I just ended it last night. Actually, I've been holding off because of a knee injury, so I'm just gonna have a bit of fun with it as well. So that could be a good one for people to do if they're going to Tartan Warrior the following weekend.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna say as well, you know, in first race first, bricking it, whatever. But it's also a good chance to put some points on the board and almost, you know, make your mark on the rest of the season.
It is. It is, if you can.
Someone's going
There's
to.
there's no easy races now.
Nah, you've got to turn. I mean, that's the beauty at the moment. Everyone's really putting the effort in and putting the training in, and then like I was saying there, you've got to turn up on form. You can't just turn up and expect to just mosey on through a race anymore. You've got to turn up on point because everyone else is.
Yeah, so the one after this is almost a month afterwards, April 27th, and it's basically one a month. And you've got to do 4, right? So the people often who will do well in the league, and I think series this year, even more so, people who have more points to choose from, i.e. if you do 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 races, then you just choose you have your best 4 count rather than only doing 4 and having to have those points. So even if you do come lower down the rankings, having to use that, which still might be the case because of life and stuff, but there'll be people being quite dedicated to having more optionality almost in their rankings.
But apparently, Becky, there's a rule coming out that if you're a race director and you have to miss one of the races because of that, you get to go and just choose a random race yourself, and you get to go and add that onto your list, and nobody else is allowed to take part.
I believe you for about 2 minutes then, and then I kind of started working it out.
Yeah, I've not written that in.
I'm actually gonna go and do my local park run. And
0 obstacles.
Count that as my 4 days.
500 points. Gavin, just before we finish then, last word for you. How can people book if they want to book this? Obviously, when this comes out, there's less than a week to go. So how can people book? Is there enough time for them to book?
Yeah, there's definitely enough time for the 3K. So yeah, we're not really talking about 3K, but yeah, you could book onto that. Even probably you can sign up on the day for that. In terms of the 8K, guys can join the waiting list. Girls, there's probably a few spots left. Ideally, people would have signed up by now because I'm putting the rule books out tomorrow. So it saves me re-emailing out rule books to anybody that signs up late. But yeah, girls can still sign up for the 8K. Guys, join the waiting list and I'll see what I can do for you. The 100 meters will be quite interesting as well. I know we're not talking about that, but we've changed the format of that into it's going to be a timed run and then head-to-head knockout.
Nice. Yeah, like the PT one.
We've changed the format this year for that, so that could be quite exciting as well. But anyway,
that is really exciting to watch when you have the knockout rounds, especially as it gets like narrower and narrower and get people who are like literally milliseconds apart in the final.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you, Gavin. You can follow Gavin on Instagram. His Instagram handle is Gavin Hogarth OCR. For all of the news for Tartan Warrior, you either go to Instagram Tartan_Warrior or follow them along on Facebook. As Gavin said, the rulebook is out. It'll be out by the time this podcast is out, so please go have a look, check out the pictures, check out the rule books, making sure you know which ones are penalties, which ones you can multiple attempt, and also which shortcut you may or may not want to take. My thanks as always to my 2 OCR elite racers. We have Becky Neal at the Runner Bee in UK and Chris Shipley at Obstacle Race Dude. We will be back in a couple of weeks to recap Tartan Warrior, the very first race of the UK OCR Series of 2024, the first race of 8, and we're going to be looking forward to a absolutely fantastic storming season. My name is Wil Chung. If you haven't already, please follow along at UKOCR, and thank you to British Obstacle Sports at British Obstacle Sports for their support of the UK OCR League. So from me and the rest of us, thank you very much, and talk to you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you soon, guys. Ain't no glory for the faint of heart. We all start
play the part. And when the going getting tough, I get to going hard. You bring your best and you know I'ma tear 'em apart.